On the agenda for Springfield City Council tonight to redefine nuisance properties.
Yeah, Savannah Harrison spoke with city leaders about how they could clean up the areas that we're talking about here. Savannah, good morning.
Good morning. Well, the city says that nuisance properties aren't unique to Springfield, but they are an issue that they're looking to clean up. Now, those nuisance properties are anything that's a property that's dilapidated, blighted, or poses a risk to public health and safety. The city council is looking to clarify that definition if they pass this bill. Now, this could help the city long-term clean up these properties.
Our main goal, with all of our code, is to make sure that that the public health and safety is being protected, and that therefore that code is being followed. And so, what we're trying to do is better address these chronic locations and be able to enforce that better, so that we can reach a point where we don't have these chronic issues. So the idea is to work with the property owners to address these things, to help them understand code better, and to prevent it from being an ongoing problem.
Now, City Council will meet tonight at 6:30 right here at the Regional Police and Fire Training Center. That's on West Battlefield. For now, reporting live in Springfield, Savannah Harrison, KY3 News.
Savannah.